Into the Badlands, Episode 2, Fist Like a Bullet. Now, because I'm actually dog sitting for my aunt, which is not as badass as the show, I can't have my katanas behind me, but I do have like my little Assassin's Creed replica thing. So this is about as close as I can get to any real blades this time. I got like this little button, which I really like that. So this is about as close as I can get to any actual blades to, represent my katanas. But I really like this episode. Of course, action was super awesome. We got to see the Widow fight, which was a really cool fight because she was kind of moving around and she has actual daggers instead of like long katanas like Sunny has. So it was fun watching the Widow fight because she had a much shorter range, so it was a lot closer compared to the fights that Sunny normally has. And she's, like the whole fight started, like she's sitting down with one of her former regents. She dodges an axe. He gets killed off. I thought he was the one setting her up, and then it's like, nope, it's just like some random people come in and try to kill her. She takes all of them out, but the one that really got me was the guy that she cut up. Like, I don't know how many times she slashed this guy, but she was just slashing him, and there's just blood like spraying off of him, and it was just crazy. And it was like she was moving at super speed a little bit, and I was like, man, she's just destroying this guy. And it was so over the top. But I was like, that's really freaking sweet. Like, it was fun to watch her do that. And she was, spinning and flipping and kicking people and stuff. And it was just a really great fight scene in the beginning. To kind of really skip far ahead, like towards the end, Sunny had a really awesome fight scene as well. I thought we were going to get to see Ryder fight, but he got, like, kind of taken out instantly. And it was like, oh, well, he's on the chain and now it's all about Sunny. But it was a great fight scene. I love the use of the locale. Like, I think they started on the ground floor, they went all the way up, and it was fun to watch. It was really cool. We got a ton of people, like a bunch of the little people fighting with hatchets and stuff, and it was really cool. Like, one of my favorite parts was when they were actually by the fan, and I just like visually how that looked. And then he's beating up people, he's dodging, and he's flipping and spinning everything, and then there was actually another level in front of it. I thought that was just a black bar in front of the giant fan. But it was actually another level for him to fight on. So then he kills like another dude, and there's like one person like just at his feet that was about to cut him, and he just sliced the guy in the neck and killed him. And it was just a cool little shot where I was like, oh, I didn't think that there was another level to this. I thought it was just he's going to be in this little silhouetted area. And then it's like, nope, there's technically 2 levels here. And it just took it up a level. Like, literally, in both ways, it took it up a level for that little scene. One of the things that was really awesome was the scene that I loved from the trailer when it first premiered. And that was like the little dodge that he does where he cuts like 3 people at once. I still love seeing that, even though I'd seen it like 3 or 4 times just from the trailer. I was like, I still love that because it looks so cool. He had the little Kill Bill moment. That was kind of a Kill Bill thing too, but he definitely had one where he was like spinning on the ground and he was cutting at everyone's feet. That I thought was pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of people that saw Kill Bill thought of that scene as well. It's not like, that was invented by Kill Bill, but of course, with that being such a popular film, it's hard not to think of that when you actually see that and someone like spins around and stuff. It didn't last nearly as long and he wasn't like actually chopping their legs off or, just their feet off. But he was cutting everyone like at the feet, and then he kind of spins up, and it's just counters and spins and kicks and flips, and they did a lot of wire fu in this one, a lot more than I felt they did in the first episode. And I'm totally fine with that because it works the way they do it in the show. One of the cool moments where they did that was pretty early on with the Widow, where she like jumped on the guy's neck, and she kind of like flew at his neck basically and spun around him. And I think they kind of did the same thing with Matilda when she killed like one of the random guys that was working for the leader that did attack Sunny and Ryder at the end of the episode. And that was pretty cool. And also, speaking of Matilda, we meet Matilda in this episode. She finds MK kind of running through the woods. So he gets taken to the Widow, and he of course lies. He hides his secret like, oh, I took off, raiders attacked my family. And it was pretty easy. I love how she figured it out like, oh, it's this certain season, your hands should be covered in like tobacco oil and stuff, but I've never heard anyone say someone's hands were virgin white before, but that's what she said. So it's like, I know you're lying to me, and of course, she has Matilda test things out, but she does kind of threaten her. She's like, if you don't want to do this, then I'm sure some of your sisters will take up this place, or will take on this mission. And it kind of makes me wonder, if Matilda's in like basically the position to become the next Baron, or technically Baroness. And that's kind of why she, continued on that mission. It's like she might be the strongest, but of course if she doesn't listen, to her leader, then obviously she'll be cast out, or at least ignored a little bit, and someone else will be, become the second in command, and eventually be the leader of the entire group. So she decides to take on the idea of, all right, I'm gonna attack MK, I'm gonna cut him, and then we'll figure out everything. But she likes him. Of course, they end up liking each other a little bit. So she fakes the cut. He's gonna get busted. That's gonna come out. That's always one of those things where it's like, oh, you lied about this. I'm sure she'll be like punched or kicked really hard or something and fly across the room because it's the show. And then that'll kind of be your whole punishment. Maybe she'll get shunned a little bit, but I'm sure she won't get killed for lying or anything like that. And I don't know when that secret's gonna come out, because like in the next episode already, and I kind of love how fast this show's moving, the Widow's already gonna be attacking Quinn at his plantation. She's coming in with her people, and they're gonna attack and try to kill Quinn off and kill all of his clippers, which they show in the promo. Some of her girls do kill two of the guys, and they kind of tumble down the stairs, but that's just two people. And he has a ton. Like, they talk about how he has like the biggest clipper force out of every Baron. So I'm wondering how they're going to do it. It's going to kind of have to be stealthy, at least for a little bit, and then obviously it's like, oh, she came to totally kill me, and there's a big confrontation. So not sure how it's going to play out, but I'm certainly looking forward to that. And it probably won't get revealed, but MK is now Sunny's... It's not ward, that's not the term they use, but that's a term that you can use, like his understudy, basically. So that should be pretty interesting. Sunny's kind of taking him on, and he does save his life, and MK has to kind of say, like, I follow all your orders, Baron, I'll kill for you, Baron, and all of this. So now that we have this training, Sunny's going to kind of have to keep him safe, and that might not be as easy as he thinks, where it's like, oh, this is just like my apprentice. I don't think it's going to be as simple as that, because for one, it's television, and two, we still have Quinn's wife and her secret where she saw what Sunny did, and I don't know anything about what's happening in that aspect. Like, I don't think we even see her in this episode, actually, but she saw what happened, and she kind of just let it go. And there was obviously the whole big deal, like, we have a traitor in our ranks, the kid escaped, somebody had to have helped him. And she said nothing. She may have actually, I think she was in that very first scene when they were at the table. But that was pretty much it. She kind of said nothing, and it was just like, well, I'm keeping this secret, and there's obviously a reason for that, so I want to know. But I don't think we're going to get that answer very soon, unfortunately. But there's something there. Like, I don't know if maybe she's from that same city that Sunny and MK are from, and she knows, because I believe she saw the emblem as well. But even when she saw the emblem, and that was in the last episode, she definitely saw it. When she saw the emblem, it's like she recognized what it was. So she's either from there, or she's at least been there, which is either way outside of the Badlands. So she knows what's actually beyond whatever border. We technically haven't seen this border, so I don't know if it's like a giant wall, kind of like how the plantation itself has a giant wall. I don't know if the Badlands themselves have another, there's like another super giant wall. But, it's this weird thing where people... It's weird that it's such a legend, because they even have the scene where Sunny talks to the guy with the birds, and it's like, oh, it's a paradise, oh, it's, wasteland. It's crazy to think that people don't know, but that's what kind of makes me wonder, like, what exactly is separating the Badlands from the rest of the world? It has to be something that's not simple to get past, because otherwise people could just walk over and be like, oh, there's actually another city over here. But it seems like they're forced a little bit to be stuck inside of the Badlands, and there's something really deadly or difficult to get past in order to reach kind of those outside cities that we haven't experienced yet. But I don't know if she's from there, she knows the stories are true or what. Maybe just someone from her family, like an ancestor, a grandmother maybe, was actually from there, so she knows what's going on. But maybe she knows that MK has this secret ability. She knows something, so there's obviously that. She knows something. We can at least We know that for sure, but other than that, it's like sheer speculation. So looking forward to that answer. That's probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is that answer, and of course, where MK's power comes from, because it's kind of just a random thing. If he bleeds and he's kind of really amped up, he goes crazy like demon mode and gets super strength, and he can catch glass that breaks flying towards him, and it's just like boom, caught it, and whip it into some dude's eye. So we've seen what can happen there, and that just doesn't happen. People can do the crazy wire food flips and kicks and stuff, so that's normal. People have kind of in this universe, they sort of have like super strength. They can just jump really high and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and that's normal. But what he did was very different. So those are like the two big questions that I have. Really love this episode though. The action, always really good. I'm very excited to see, like I said, I love how fast the show is already going. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the Widow versus Quinn. So that should be exciting. They do say the Widow's name in the beginning of this episode, but I can't remember what the guy calls her. But it was something because they used to know each other even before she was the Baron. So I thought that was a nice little hint at a backstory for her character, but they really don't get into it. It's like, oh, here's her real name, and it's like, oh, don't call me that or whatever, and then it's the Widow throughout, and that's pretty much it. But I did enjoy this episode. Obviously, Matilda's going to be a big part of the series. I don't know how that relationship is going to work between her and MK, especially once, the big secret gets out that he is the kid that the Widow's been looking for. But that should be exciting. Another really big moment from this episode, of course, was Sunny, which, once again, did not expect this to happen in the second episode, but Sunny did not follow an order that he was given by the Baron. And when that happened, it kind of blew my mind that it was so early on in the series. And it was a really awesome scene. It really sucked because it's like, we get the information, we find out, basically the Baron has a tumor. He'll die pretty much by the winter. That's what the guy said, like winter solstice, you might get to live live that long. So the Baron's gonna die, and basically his idea is they can tell people that I'm gonna die, and so I need them killed. And Sunny doesn't want to do it. Of course, if it wasn't for the fact that they were his girlfriend's parents, that he probably wouldn't have given a crap. But he does, and he doesn't follow that order, and so the Baron does it himself. And I knew that was gonna happen because that was another scene from the trailer where I just remembered like his face was really bloody and stuff, and I remembered that was the house. That's what it looked like, and I was like, man, he's gonna go in and kill them, and that's what he does. And so of course Sunny has to go to his girlfriend, and I don't know if that'll ever get out. That would probably be something like really later on if he decides, if Quinn actually finds out that Sunny's trying to leave, he might go and be like, hey, I may have been the one that did it, but did he tell you that he was at least there? Like, Sunny was the one that was supposed to do it, and it was Sunny's blade. Like, that might be how he puts it. Like, it was Sunny's blade that killed them. I was just, the hand that swung the blade or something like that, which still says he was the one that did it, but, So, I don't know if that'll happen, but Sunny decides, like, once again, for like the fourth time, just moving it really fast in a good way. I don't think none of this is felt rushed. It's just moving quickly, and I've enjoyed that. But Sunny's made his decision. Like, he had the conversation with the birds, and he officially made his decision, like, we're going to get out of here, and he's going to help MK. He's going to teach him, and that's how he's going to escape. He's going to basically send him off and say, like, hey, you protect her and my child, and I guess he'll kind of just stay behind or something. But that's obviously not how it's going to play out. It won't be nearly as simple as that. So I'm looking forward to episode 3. Can't wait to see what other crazy maneuvers they do. We're going to get to see 2 Barons fight, which should be fairly exciting and there should be a lot of finessing through that sort of battle, because we always see the leaders as really good. Like, we always see all their henchmen come in, and they've done this for both episodes so far. When Sunny fought like the nomads in the beginning, he fought all those people, and then the leader came, and he was like the only person that actually got a hit on Sunny. And it was like a bit of a battle. Like, they were evenly like kicking at each other and stuff, and then ultimately, of course, he takes them down. But that's kind of how it plays out. And then that ending fight, He fought all those guys at once, and then the guy that came down dual wielding just like he was a bit of a challenge. And then in this episode again, they didn't do it for the Widow's fight. She was just like killing everybody. But for Sunny, destroys all the weak henchmen, and then he did beat up the leader a bit faster in this episode than the last one. Because basically he headbutted the guy and then he kicked him onto some boxes. But he came back at the end, so he really wasn't involved in the fight too much. It was mostly henchmen in this one, which was really awesome because, like I said, they went like 3 or 4 different levels, and it was technically only like 2 to go on, and then they just jumped even higher to like the beams. But it was a cool fight, and we always see like the leader of all these henchmen kind of come in at the last second to always get like some sort of hit in. And once again, he was tough, and technically he was about to kill Sunny because he got one up on him when Sunny was helping Ryder, and fortunately MK came in and stabbed him right in the back and killed him. But love the episode. Action always good. Story is really good in this show too. I mean, it's hard not to only talk about the action because clearly that's what they show, and it's a spectacle to watch this show, and it's amazing to see the choreography and the practical stuff, and then the over-the-top stuff with kind of the wires and them flying really far and stuff like that, or kicking someone and they just fly super far. But it's just a really big spectacle watching these great action scenes. And then we do have really great story elements like Sunny disobeying the Baron in this episode, and meeting Matilda and the relationship that she and MK form, and then the Widow actually having Matilda go into this fight when she kills that guy. It's like, alright, so we have all these henchmen who pretty much have all been killed at this point, so that doesn't really matter anymore. But there's a lot of great story elements in here for sure, but it's hard not to just be like, they flipped and they kicked and then she was slicing the guy up and stuff. But I do love the story elements. I think it's been a really great blend, and like I said, the bird guy, we got introduced to him. Don't know if we'll see him too often, but that was a really good moment. That was a nice story moment where it's like, Sunny knew he could talk to this guy for whatever reason. He knew this was the person he could talk to randomly about leaving, which is something that clearly you shouldn't say because the Baron will probably have you killed just for thinking you can leave. So it was kind of cool. It says a lot about that character just because Sunny went and talked to him over everybody else. So little subtle story elements, then just the blatant stuff, Sunny and him having that conversation in general. Really well done. But I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And we've had a lot of crazy stuff happen, obviously, in these past 2 episodes. But one of the really big things, of course, is the fact that there are a lot of different weird little secrets going on. So we have Quinn's wife in this episode, or mostly in the last episode. She kept Sunny's secret where he lets the kid escape. And then we have MK's power in general. So even though it's only 2 episodes in, I want to know your guesses for where MK's power comes from and what is going on with Quinn's wife. I wish I could remember her name because obviously she's an important character, but I just can't think of it right now. But I want to know your speculations for where MK's power comes from and what's going on with Quinn's wife. Was she from the same place? That's like the easy answer, so I assume she was. But there's something else there. It's like, why did she stay in the Badlands? Why not tell people if she's from there, like, hey, this is real? Why doesn't anyone ever say that? Like, there are clearly people that can go into the Badlands, which I guess if they're called the Badlands, you wouldn't go into them, so that also kind of makes sense why everyone in the Badlands wouldn't know, but everyone outside would know, because, like, I'm not going in there and getting chopped up, so I guess that makes sense. But I want to know your speculation, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.